back to the Sad Dad Games podcast. You're listening to another episode of Eric's Indie Corner, where I, Eric, pick an indie game once a week to recommend to all of you. This week, can someone else do my intros? Like, I just
Shan always sabotages Eric's intros, and you're just waiting for an excuse.
Eric would sabotage. Eric or Tucker would sabotage me more often, but I've been thinking a lot more about like that episode of Community where
the brownies.
Pierce would try to train what's her name to not use Shirley to not say so much, so he just starts saying all the time.
That's the vibe I got from you. It was a very
she would say
vibe.
And she said like once, and she was actually using it the correct way. Like she's like, I was actually using the word.
So let me just Eric's Indie Corner. So like, comment, and subscribe. We'd love to hear from you in the comments. And the game we're talking about this week is a game called Toem. And I looked it up. I'm pretty sure I'm pronouncing that correctly. So it is not an English word. It's a Swedish word. And so, but I looked it up ahead of time. I hope we're all proud of me. Snaps for Eric. So Toem is a photography puzzle adventure game, and it's developed by a studio called Something We Made, which is a Swedish studio, as I mentioned. Originally released in September 27th of 2021. And I had a good time. Every once in a while, it's nice to just play a cute little dumb... What, Shan? It's not dumb. The game's not dumb. You trip me up with your laughter. Can we? Maybe I'm not. I can't do it, you guys.
Are you sure?
No, it's just bad. No. You're doing fantastic. We're having a great time. It's just now it's impossible for you to not say and for us to not think of what just happened. Yeah. So we're very conscious of it right now.
We're
by the way,
hyper aware of Eric saying over and over again.
Yeah, is it impossible for a game to do photography genre and to not think Pokemon Snap? Are they all based on that game now?
There definitely is, like in this one, there are some Pokemon Snap-ish moments. You're not on rails, so it's like a little bit... But yeah, it has... I agree. Every time there's photography in a game, it's like, like in Pokemon Snap.
Are you just throwing balls at things, hoping that it evolves? How is it like Pokemon Snap?
Well, you're taking pictures of things, and the similarities end there. But I think the point Shan's making is that Pokemon Snap was such a big deal for people of our age that it was just like whenever we play a photography game, it just brings that to mind, even if they're not really very closely related gameplay wise.
Well, honestly, like if you think about it, a photography video game, especially back then when Pokemon Snap came out, I think if I was like an executive back then, I'd be like, this isn't a good video game idea. I don't think people will want to play this. Like, why would you want to take pictures in a game? And then it just completely blew us away. It was, I love Pokemon Snap. That one is very nostalgic for me. So,
how did they nail the formula on their very first try for that genre? And turns out it's all about Easter eggs. So, Eric, does this game have a shit ton of Easter eggs?
So yeah, you spend a lot of time in the game looking for Easter eggs, I guess you would call them, or secrets, and finding things to photograph and then completing quests that way. So yeah, there is this nice feedback loop of finding fun things and, fulfilling quests with the things that you found in the pictures that you've taken. So yeah. So fun fact about this game is that the project was originally conceptualized in 2018 by two developers called Lucas Gulbo and Nicholas Mikkelsen. They came up with this concept and submitted it, the early prototype of Toem, to a local game competition called the Game Concept Challenge, and won. And this is where they originally got their funding to make this into a full-fledged game. And so I love to hear little indie success stories like that, where people are just making something fun that they believe in, and then fortune favors them and they find a way to make it a reality, because I had a really great time playing Toem. So as always, we're going to break it down by story, gameplay, and then visuals and sound. So story in Toem is simple, as a lot of, games like this are. You start off as the player, you wake up in your little house, and then your grandma sends you on a mission. She gives you a camera, slaps you on the bum, and says, You need to go out into the world, experience your nice little, it's like a coming of age journey. Go and experience the phenomenon known as Toem. And so this
And
whole
the
time,
inciting incident, if you're not lying to me, is sexual assault.
yeah. Yep. That's what it is.
I do not like this grandma. I think we should lock her up.
A shady character. Yeah.
This reminds me of that old YouTube video that is like someone did like a whole story with Red from Pokemon Red. And he's like, I'm 10 years
Pokemon
old.
Rusty.
I'm an adult.
Pokemon Rusty. Yeah.
Yes, legally that's true.
Hashtag gotta catch 'em all. Yeah.
Like, oh, coming of age. Why don't you just like go out and go do your thing.
So very much like a Pokemon game, you start off in your house and probably are too young to be on an adventure on your own, but you go out on an adventure on your own anyways.
To escape your grandmother who wants to grow up your ass.
Shan's really misreading this whole
No, I think
He's
you're
triggered.
I think you're misreading it yourself. Yeah.
So to clarify, slaps you on the bum and sends you on your way is a little bit of colorful flavor text that I inserted to make the situation sound more silly. Grandma does not slap you on the bum in reality.
Thank God.
Thank heavens. Grandma's not a sexual predator, so that's good.
A pedophile.
Pedophile. She does, however, give you a cute little camera and lets you go take pictures. So not a creeper.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. What was she using that camera for?
Yeah, I guess that. What was on the memory card before she gave it to you?
Yeah. Maybe wipe that memory card clean before you use it.
She can't be associated with that evidence anymore.
Grandma can't
Exactly.
be
Offload it to someone else.
Exactly.
Okay, well, Shan's sleep
not like this
deprived. We can move on.
I am infuriated with this grandma character.
Oh man. So the general vibes of this story are it's very lighthearted, very whimsical and silly. You meet a lot of strange, colorful characters on your journey. The main story isn't super present as you go. It's kind of just like you need to go out in the world and experience this phenomenon known as Toem. You don't really know what it is or what you need to do to get there, but it's like your grandma indicates that she did it when she was younger, and it's sort of like a journey that everybody goes on. Shan,
I don't like the
it.
ambiguity. I don't like the ambiguity of Toem and whatever grandma did. Okay.
Go do Toem.
I'm so excited for you to experience Toem. Here, take my camera.
I don't know how to recover from the creepy situation that Shan made us into.
I don't like the ambiguity that we can insert all this meaning into.
Yeah. I don't even know where to go from here, so I'm just gonna keep trucking along, I guess. So you go out onto this adventure. You're meeting a lot of really fun, colorful characters. They all have little missions and quests for you to do, and so it's a good way to kind of progress the stories. It's a lot of little, rather than focusing on the grand adventure, it's these little like pocket stories as you go through that are more related to each character. So yeah, the story is very nice, very pleasant. It's got a cutesy kind of a silly storybook vibe to it, which is a lot of fun. And it does a good job of supporting the gameplay. So the main gameplay loop in this game is pretty direct. You get to a new area via bus. So you arrive on the bus and you get to the bus stop and you get a stamp book. And the person at the bus stop that gave you the stamp book says, go out and do these missions for people. Every time you complete a mission, you'll get a stamp, and you need to come back with a certain amount of stamps before you can go to the next area. So each area is segmented into several little isometric sort of like rooms, I guess. They're not, like, a lot of them are outdoors. They're not exactly rooms, but they feel kind of like a diorama. That's the word I was looking for. These little diorama areas. And there's different characters that you can interact with, and they give you missions to do. Like, hey, I want to find a picture of this, or I lost my friend. Can you return them to me? Or, just lots of little things, a lot of camera-based shenanigans. And they do a good job of taking the central gameplay mechanic of taking pictures of things and using that in a lot of different ways, where it's not just like, all right, go take this picture and come back. There's some of that, but there's a lot of other more creative ways that they use the photography mechanic as well. So And then once you get enough stamps, you go to the next area and you do it all over again. You meet a lot of new colorful characters, and you do that several times over until you finally get to the end. I don't want to say experience Toem again because I know it's going to send Shan into a weird rabbit hole, but experience Toem at the end of the game.
I really don't like the Swedish word Toem.
Yeah. So yeah, gameplay is pretty simple, but really it's got a fun, rewarding gameplay loop of like you can talk to a lot of people, and then you go out and you're trying to do multiple quests at once, and it's a lot of fun that way. And the characters are all quirky and silly and fun to interact with. It also does an interesting thing where the most of the game takes place in like a kind of a top-down isometric camera angle, but when you pull out your camera, it goes into a first-person perspective, and so generally in games like that where it's like a top-down view, you don't get to really see the world from that perspective. And so it is kind of fun to see things that from the normal camera angle might be blocked to you, but then when you pull out your camera, you can see things you wouldn't normally be able to see and find secrets in pictures and stuff that way. It reminded me a little bit of with the Fox, that one in Tunic. Tunic does a really good job of using the isometric camera angle to obfuscate certain like passageways and Easter eggs and things to do. And that was one of the things that Shan and I talked about in our Tunic episode of how much we like that. And there's a little bit of that here in Toem as well, which I thought it's fun to kind of play with the camera angle to hide things from the player. I think that's fun. It's makes an interesting extra level to puzzle solving. And so I was a big fan of that. Yeah. So other favorite camera-based games. What do you guys think of? I mean, I can think of like Pokemon Snap, Toem now. What other camera games have you guys heard of or played? I was trying to think, and I wanted to do it without like Googling a list, but
the new Pokemon Snap. I love that one.
Oh, good job.
There it is. I actually haven't played the new Pokemon Snap. That's one that's kind of on my list, and I never got around to.
It's excellent. Recaptures the magic of the original while really building on it. But, I don't know. There was a little too much of having to replay a level that it kind of got a little old eventually. However, it's still magical. That being said, those are the only camera games I've ever played, so I don't know if there are others.
Yeah, I can think of a few little things with like larger games with some camera elements in them. I feel like the Left 4 Dead series, you play as a photographer, like fighting zombies. Or not Left 4 Dead, what's the... Dead Rising. Dead Rising is the ones where you're like stuck in a mall with a million zombies. Beyond Good and Evil was a GameCube game that I played sort of recently, where it's like a Zelda-style adventure, but you're also a photographer. You can take pictures and send them in for money, and there's a little compendium that you can complete. Fatal Frame.
You take pictures as Spider-Man.
Oh yeah, you can take pictures
Side
of Spider-Man.
quests.
So a lot of games nowadays have photo modes, and so there's like most games have like a photo thing kind of built into it. But it was fun and refreshing to have a simple, kind of a lazy, soothing experience. Not that the game development was lazy, because obviously that's not the case, but like it was just like a calming, kind of like a mellow experience where you're just taking pictures and walking around and talking to people in the cute little storybook world.
Camera mode is just like a developer's way to get you to promote their game for free on social media, but it's fine. Do that for them. I'm not gonna. I never engage with that personally. I will say for Pokemon Snap, the original on Nintendo 64, this will come up every time we talk about that game because I'm so upset about it. It's a trauma from my childhood. But I got on the Mew stage a perfect 10,000 score on that. A picture, perfectly framed, everything. 10,000 is the highest score you can get on any picture especially on that. So they were doing that a thing at Blockbuster where you can take in your cartridge and print out your photo and then submit it. And I brought it in the day after they finished that competition. Now, I don't know that I would have won. It could have been that was the cliche picture and maybe a perfect score wouldn't... Maybe it's not the score itself. Maybe they were actually just going for, like, most interesting photo. But in my head, I had said that the most perfect score would have won. And so I always thought, well, I just whatever the prize was, I don't even remember. I would have won that, and I was always upset about that.
You missed out big time.
I grew up with Shan, and I can confirm that this is what happened. And I always think about that, and it traumatized me too. It's very upsetting. But I still have my stickers from that, like, that kiosk that they set up at Blockbuster where you could bring your cartridge into. I still have some of the stickers from the game, so that's fun.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. Blockbuster, for all of our Gen Z listeners, is a place where you used to go and rent physical movies that you had to plug into things to make them play. I know. So, and you could go print off your Pokemon pictures. It was a good time. Pokemon Snap. I never actually went to print off. I'd never owned Pokemon Snap. I had to like borrow it from a friend or play it at my friend's house. And so I never went to a Blockbuster to like print my own Pokemon pictures. That's an experience that I never had.
And you've been chasing that ever since.
I've been chasing that high. I wanted those Pokemon pictures. All right, so moving on, visuals and sound. Visuals for this game are unsurprisingly an absolute delight. We all know that I like to play, cute, pretty indie games. So the visuals use a really unique kind of a paper cutout storybook sort of a look. Everything is grayscale, so there's no color. And it's 3-dimensional environments with 2-dimensional cutout figures that has kind of like a storybook look to it. It's almost like Paper Mario, but obviously less colorful, and it doesn't overtly look like paper. But the main artist, Lucas Gulbo, said that the art in this game was inspired by pop-up books. And I feel like it really is that vibe of kind of like everything has sort of a small diorama kind of a look to it. And it looks like you're opening up and it's this little pop-up book and wandering around taking cute little pictures. So definitely has that pop-up book vibe. So I think the art direction was really successful in that way.
Like the Plucky Squire.
Like the Plucky Squire, which is another great indie game and another episode on this channel that does not have enough views. So go watch it. That's a great game and a cool movie and a cool video. Also, in this game, you can unlock. Who's ready to say it with me now? Hats. You can find and unlock new and different hats to wear in this game. You get different clothing items, and you can wear hats and sunglasses and wear and hold umbrellas and different shoes, and it's mostly superfluous, but some of the items actually impact gameplay. You can, have an umbrella will keep the rain from getting on the lens of your camera. Sunglasses help you see ghosts. I don't really know why that one happens, but it does. And so, but for the most part, it's just fun dress up. So YouTube algorithm, I did the thing. I talked about hats. So make sure that this video is popular. We all know that YouTube loves when I talk about hats. All right. And then the sound design in this game is also very nice. Music composed by Jamal Green, and Lunchable Socks is plucky, simple, and most importantly, unobtrusive. It's not really loud or in your face. It's very contemplative and quiet, and in the background, it has a lot of acoustic guitars and kind of tinkling piano. And so it's a very mellow, nice background music while you're just pooting around taking pictures.
Eric, that is quite the description, and much better than your generic.
It's good.
It's good.
I'm working on it. I'm getting better. Do more research on this. Shan has noticed.
I respect the hell out of that.
That's the first time I got the composer's name right. I used descriptive words when talking about the music. I'm finally doing it, you guys. Yeah, I'm getting better.
I love this. That was a lot of good words.
Thank you. I did it. Thank you.
These words
very
are
much
good.
Appreciate it. Yeah. All right. So that just about does it for I don't know. Any last thoughts, you guys, before I close it out?
I love indie games that are stylistic because they all age well. I love that this has a little Euro indie game vibe because it's cutesy in its own way, and so it feels like if you need to, shove off to a corner for a couple hours and just experience something that is unique that not a lot of people have consumed, this is something that you can have for yourself, right?
Yeah, but no, I agree with that, Shan. It's a nice little experience that you kind of it feels cozy. It feels nice. It's definitely got
it's an indie snack.
It's an indie snack, yeah, and it definitely has those influences from the development studio. It has some very kind of Swedish sensibilities to it, where a lot of the names of places and characters feel, distinctly Swedish to specific to this development studio, which I think is always fun to experience a little bit of other people's cultures in this way. So it's very nice. And also there was a free DLC update, which adds a whole extra island, lots of more missions to complete, and more things to put in your compendium. So that was fun. Once I finished the game, it was like, oh, also there's a little bit more. So always excited to have a little bit more game of a game that I love. So yeah, playtime for this game, it'll run you between 2.5 to 5-ish hours, kind of depending on the pace that you take and how much extra stuff that you do, because you don't have to complete every mission to make your way through the game. You probably only have to do about half of them, but there's lots of extra stuff to do if you want to do that. It's available for Nintendo Switch, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series, and Windows, and it's $19.99. So it's a good time. Check it out. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for an episode of Eric's Indie Corner. We talked about Toem today, and I hope that you enjoyed listening to us talk about this game, and I hope that you give it a try. It's a good one. We'll talk to you guys next time. Bye.
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 Outro. Bleepy doof, bleepity, bloopity blow.